നെക്സ്റ്റ് എക്സാമിൻ്റെ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ സബ്ജക്റ്റിൻ്റെ സിലബസാണ് നമ്മൾ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത്. യൂണിറ്റ് 1 എഡ്യൂക്കേഷണൽ സ്റ്റഡീസ് ആണ് വരുന്നത്. അതിൽ കോൺട്രിബ്യൂഷൻസ് ഓഫ് ഇന്ത്യൻ സ്കൂൾസ് ഓഫ് ഫിലോസഫി, സാങ്ക്യ യോഗ, വേദാന്ത, ബുദ്ധിസം, ജൈനിസം വിത്ത് സ്പെഷ്യൽ റെഫറൻസസ് ടു വിദ്യ, ദയാനന്ദ് ദർശൻ ആൻഡ് ഇസ്ലാമിക് ട്രഡീഷൻസ് ടുവേർഡ്സ് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷണൽ എയിംസ് ആൻഡ് മെത്തേഡ്സ് ഓഫ് അക്വയറിംഗ് വാലിഡ് നോളജ്. Then, contribution of Western schools of thoughts, idealism, realism, naturalism, pragmatism, Marxism, existentialism, and their contributions to education with a special reference to information, knowledge, and wisdom. Then C section approaches to sociology of education, symbolic interaction, structural functionalism, and conflict theory. Concept and types of social institutions and their functions, family, school, and society. Concepts of social movements, theories of social movements, relative deprivation, resources mobilization, political process theory, and new social movement theory. D section socialization and education, education and culture, contribution of thinkers like Swami Vivekananda, Rabindranath Tagore, Mahatma Gandhi, Aurobindo, J. Krishnamurti, Paulo Freire, and Wollstonecraft, and Nell Noddings and Savitribai Phule to the development of educational thoughts for social change. National values as enshrined in the Indian Constitution: socialism, secularism, justice, liberty, democracy, equality, freedom with a special reference to education. Second യൂണിറ്റിൽ ഹിസ്റ്ററി, പൊളിറ്റിക്സ് ആൻഡ് എക്കണോമിക്സ് ഓഫ് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ. അതിൽ എ സെക്ഷനിൽ കമ്മിറ്റീസ് ആൻഡ് കമ്മീഷൻസ് കോൺട്രിബ്യൂഷൻ ടു ടീച്ചർ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ, സെക്കൻഡറി എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ കമ്മീഷൻ 1953 ആൻഡ് കോത്താരി എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ കമ്മീഷൻ 1964, നാഷണൽ പോളിസി ഓഫ് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ 1986 and National Commission of Teachers 1999, National Curriculum Framework 2005, National Knowledge Commission 2007, and Yashwal Committee Report 2009, National Curriculum Framework for Teacher Education 2009, Justice Verma Committee Report 2012. Then B section, relationship between policies and education, linkage between educational policy and national development, determinants of educational policy and a process of policy formulation, analysis of the existing situation, generation of policy options, evaluation of policy options, making the policy decision, planning of policy implementation, policy impact assessment, and subsequent policy cycles. Concept of economics of education, cost-benefit analysis versus cost-effective analysis in education, economic returns to higher education, psychedelic theory versus human capital theory, concept of educational finance at micro and macro levels, concept of budgeting. This section, relationship between politics and education and perspectives of politics of education, liberal, conservative, and critical. Approaches to understanding politics, behavioralism, theory of system analysis and theory of rational choice, education for political development and political socialization. Then the third unit, learner and learning process. A section, growth and development, concept and principles, cognitive processes and stage of cognitive development, personality definitions and theories. Freud, Carl Rogers, and Gordon Allport, and Max Wertheimer, and Kurt Kafka. Mental health and mental hygiene. Then B section, approaches to intelligence from unitary to multiple, concepts of social intelligence, multiple intelligence, emotional intelligence, theories of intelligence by Sternberg, Gardner, and assessment of intelligence, concepts of problem solving, critical thinking, and metacognition and creativity. Then C section, principles and the theories of learning, behavioristic, cognitive, and social theories of learning, and factors affecting social learning, social competence, and the concept of social cognition, understanding social relationship and socialization goals. Then guidance and counseling. Nature, principles and need, types of guidance, educational, vocational, personal, health and social and directive, non-directive and elective. Approaches to counseling, cognitive behavioral, Albert Ellis, REBT and humanistic person-centered counseling, Carl Rogers and theories of counseling, behavioristic, rational, emotive and reality. Then fourth unit, teacher education. Meaning, nature and scope of teacher education, types of teacher education programs, the structure of teacher education curriculum and its vision in curriculum documents of NCRT and NCTE at elementary, secondary and higher secondary levels. Organization of components of pre-service teacher education, transactional approaches for foundation courses, expository, collaborative and experimental learning. Then B section, understanding knowledge base of teacher education from the viewpoint of Schulman, Dung and Luke and Abrams. Meaning of reflective teaching and strategies for promoting reflective teaching, models of teacher education, behavioristic, competency based and inquiry oriented teacher education models. Then, concept, need, purpose and scope of in-service teacher education, organization and modes of in-service teacher education, and agencies and institutions in in-service teacher education at a district. State and national levels SSA, RMSA, SCRT, NCRT, NCTE and UGC. Preliminary consideration in planning in service teacher education program, purpose, duration, resources and budget. Concept of profession and professionalism. Teaching as a profession, professional ethics of teacher, personal and contextual factors affecting teacher development, ICT integration, quality enhancement for professionalization of teacher education, innovation in teacher education. Then fifth unit, curriculum studies. Concept and principle of curriculum. Strategies of curriculum development, stages in the process of curriculum development, foundations of curriculum planning, philosophical basis, national, democratic, sociological basis, socio-cultural reconstruction, psychological basis, learners' need and interest, benchmarking and role of national level statutory bodies UGC, NCTE and UGC, NCTE and university in curriculum development. Then models of curriculum design. Traditional and contemporary models, academic disciplines based model, competency based model, social functions, activities model, social reconstruction, individual needs and interest model, outcome based integration model, intervention model, CIPP model, context input process product model. Then instructional system, instructional media, instructional techniques and material in enhancing curriculum transaction, approaches to evaluation of curriculum, approaches to curriculum and instruction, academic and competency based approaches, models of curriculum evaluation, Teller's model and Stakes model and Scriven's model and Kirkpatrick's model. Then meaning and types of curriculum changes, factors affecting curriculum changes, approaches to curriculum change, role of students, teachers and educational administrators in curriculum change and improvement. Scope of curriculum, research and type of research in curriculum studies. Then sixth unit, research in education. Meaning and scope of educational research. Meaning and steps of scientific method, characteristics of scientific method and types of scientific method and aims of research as a scientific activity and problem solving theory building the prediction, types of research and approaches to educational research and designs in educational research. Then variables, meaning of concept, constructs and variables, types of variables, independent variable, dependent variable, extraneous variable, intervening and mediator variable. And hypothesis, concept, sources, types of research, directional, non-directional, null. And formatting hypothesis, characteristic of a good hypothesis, steps of writing a research proposal, concept of universe and samples, characteristic of a good sample, techniques of sampling, probability and non-probability sampling, tools of research, validity and reliability and standardization of tool, types of tool, rating scale, attitude scale, questionnaire, aptitude test and achievement test, inventory, techniques of research, observation, interview and projective techniques. Types of measurement scale, nominal, ordinal, interval and ratio, and quantitative data analysis, descriptive data analysis, measures of central tendency, variability, fiduciary limits and graphical presentation of data, testing of hypothesis, type 1 and type 2 errors, level of significance, power of a statistical test and effect size. Parametric technique, non-parametric techniques, conditions to be satisfied for using parametric techniques. Inferential data analysis, use and interpretation of statistical techniques, correlation, t-test, z-test, ANOVA, chi-square, equal probability and non-probability hypothesis. Qualitative data analysis, data reproduction and classification, analytical induction and constant comparison, concept of triangulation. Then qualitative research design, grounded theory design, type, characters, design, steps in conducting a GT research, strengths and weakness of GT, narrative research designs, meaning and key characters, steps in conducting NR design, case study, meaning, characteristics, components of a CS design, types of CS design, steps of conducting a CS research, and strength and weakness, ethnography, meaning, characteristics, underlining assumptions, steps of conducting ethnographic research, writing ethnographic account, strength and weaknesses. Mixed method design, characteristics, types of design, triangulation, explanatory and exploratory design, steps in conducting a designs, strength and weakness of research. Then pedagogy, andragogy and assessment. Pedagogy, pedagogical analysis, concept and stages, critical pedagogy, meaning, needs, sets, implications in teacher education, organizing teaching, memory level, Ebersian model, understanding level, Morrison teaching model, reflective level, Big and Hunt teaching model, concept of andragogy in education. Then meaning principle, competencies of self-directed learning theory of andragogy, Malcolm notes the dynamic model of learners' autonomy. Assessment, meaning, nature, perspective, assessment for learning, and assessment for learning. Types of assessment, placement, formation, diagnosis, summative, relations between objectives and outcomes. Assessment of cognitive, Anderson and Catrol, affective, Catwall, and psychomotor domain, RH Drive of learning. Assessment pedagogy of education, feedback devices, meaning, type, criteria, guidance as a feedback devices, assessment of portfolio, reflective journal, field engagement using rubrics, competency based evaluation, assessment of teacher prepared ICT resources. Then assessment in andragogy of education, interactions analysis, Flanders interaction analysis, Covey's system of interaction analysis, recording of classroom events, constructive and interpretation of interaction matrix, criteria for teacher evaluation, product process and presage criteria, rubrics for self and peer evaluation, meaning, steps of construction. Then 8th unit, technology in for education. Concept of educational technology, ET as a discipline. Informative technology, communication technology and information and communication technology, ICT, and instructional technology. Applications of education technology in formal, non-formal, open and distance learning. Informal and inclusive education systems. Overview of behavioristic, cognitive and constructive theories and their implications to instructional design. Skinner, Piaget, Osbel, Bruno, Vygotsky. Relationship between learning theories and instructional strategies for large and small groups, formal and non-formal groups. Then system approaches to instructional design, model of development of instructional design. Then Gagne 9 events of instruction and 5 E's of constructivism, 9 elements of constructivism, instrumental design, applications of computers in Education, CAI, CAL, CBT, CML, concept process of preparing ODLM. Concept of e-learning, approaches to e-learning, offline, online, synchronous, asynchronous, and blended learning, mobile learning. Then emerging trends in e-learning, social learning concept, use of web 2.0 tools for learning, social networking sites, blogs, chats, videos, conferencing, discussion forum, open education resources, creative, common, massive, open online courses, concept and application, e-inclusive, concept of e-inclusion, application of assistive technology in e-learning, quality of e-learning, measuring quality of system, information system, service user satisfaction and net benefits, DMI's success model 2003, ethical issues for e-learners and e-teacher teaching, learning and research. Use of ICT in evaluation, administrative and research, e-portfolio ICT for research, online repositories and online libraries, online and offline assessment tools, online survey tools or test generation, concept and development. Then Unit 9, Educational Management, Administrative and Leadership. Educational Management Administration, meaning, principles, functions and importance, institutional building, then postcode and CPM, PERT, management as a system, SWOT analysis, Taylorism, administration as a process, administration as a bureaucracy, human relationship, approaches to administration, organizational compliance, organizational development, organizational climate. Leadership in educational administration, meaning and nature, approaches to leadership, trait, transformational, transactional, value-based, cultural, psychodynamic and charismatic, models of leadership, Blake and Modern's managerial guide, Felder's cognitive model, tri-dimensional model, Ersey and Blanchard's model, leaders-member exchange theory. Then concept of quality and quality in education. Indian and international perspective, evaluation of quality, inspection, quality control, quality assurance, total quality management, TQM and Six Sigma quality gurus, Walter Stewart, Edward Deming and C.K. Pahad. Change management, meaning need for planned change, three-step model of change, unfreezing, moving, refreezing. The Japanese model of change, just in time, Pokayoki, cost of quality, appraisal cost, failure cost and preventable cost, cost benefits. Analysis cost, cost effective analysis, Indian and international quality assurance agencies. Objective functions and roles of Initiative, National Assessment Accreditation Council, NAC. Performance Indicators, Quality Council of India, QCI, International Network for Quality Assurance Agency in Higher Education. Then 10th unit, Inclusive Education. Inclusive education concept, principles, scope and target groups, diverse learners, inclusive marginalized group and learners with disabilities. Evaluation of the philosophy of inclusive education, special integrated inclusive education, legal provisions, policies and legislation, National Policy of Education 1986, Program of Action 1992, Person with a Disability Act 1995, National Policy of Disability 2006, National Curriculum Framework 2005, Concession and Facilities to Diverse Learner, Academic and Financial, Rehabilitation Council of Indian Act 1992, Inclusive Education under Sarva Siksha Abhiyan SSA, Features of UNCRAP United Nations Conventions of the Right of Person with Disabilities and its implications. Concept of impairment, disability and handicap classification, disabilities based on ICF model, readiness of school and models of inclusive, prevalence, types, characteristics and education needs of diverse learners, intellectual, physical and multiple disabilities, causes and prevention of disabilities, identification of diverse learners for inclusion, educational evaluation method, techniques and tools. Then planning and management of inclusive classroom, infrastructure, human resource and instructional practices, curriculum and curricular adaptations for diverse learners, assistive and adaptive technology for diverse learners, product aids and appliances, and process individualized education plan, remedial teaching, parent professional partnership, role of parents, peers, professionals, teacher, schools. The last barriers and facilitators in inclusive education, attitude, social and educational, current status and ethnical issues of inclusive education in India, research trends of Indian education in India.